following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome back to Main Street Preps North, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. I'm Brady McAtamney, sports editor at Main Street Clarksville. Blaine, want to introduce yourself this time?
Yeah, that's new. Blaine Kellar with the Robertson County Connection, also with Main Street Preps. Brady, looks like you got a haircut while you were up in Detroit. Are my eyes deceiving me, or are we rocking a new style?
I did. I went a little shorter this time. I got one of my great friends from middle school is a hairdresser, so I like to go see her when I can. So get rid of kind of the mane that I had going on and make it a little more manageable.
It looks good. I like it.
Thank you. Of course, as always, we have a fun show lined up for you today. A couple guests, and as always, our usual segments. We're going to start it off today with we're staying in Clarksville for our first guest today. It's Charles Clark, head coach of the Clarksville Academy girls basketball team. The Lady Cougars are 2-3 to start the season, but don't let that record deceive you. They've played some really good basketball teams. Charles, how you doing today?
Hey, Brady, doing well. You guys doing all right?
We are doing good. Happy to have you on the show for the first time this year. I mentioned that you guys have played some tough teams. Of course, that includes teams Lebanon, Ensworth. Just last night, Clarksville High got a close win against Northwest to open the season. Tell me about why you guys wanted to play such hard games early on.
Well, I think number one, the quote I've been using obviously is to be the best. You want to play the best and beat the best. And then, a lot of the ladies that come to Clarksville Academy, when they think about playing basketball, I think they're entertained and intrigued by playing really good teams. A lot of girls play on the AAU travel ball circuit. So the opportunity to play teams that feature other girls that they would normally see in the summer is a little intriguing. And so we look at it as a positive and as a benefit. We obviously, find out, that really quick, the things we need to focus on and work on. And so, it's all about growing and being able to play at the right time, playing well at the right time. And, certainly with the three teams we've lost to, we feel like we're in a good space. We obviously want to beat those teams, but it's been really good for us, and we feel good about where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, you've already played some really, really good basketball players, of course, including two of the top players in the country, Amari Berry and Jelani Cambridge. Jelani, of course, the top player in the country. Amari Berry, I think rated just outside the top 30. But I was wondering, now that you guys have seen them both, of course, you've seen Amari more than once. How would you compare the two between Amari and Jelani, and what makes these two players so hard to match up with?
Well, Brady, they're super talented young ladies, both of them. And, when you're trying to scheme, it's one of those things where they both have the ability to they take difficult shots, but they make difficult shots. And so, you're really not going to stop them because they impact the game in so many different ways. Jelani had 15 rebounds against us, but, she probably had 10 on the or 9 on the defensive end. And so, she's been able to start the fast break when she gets a defensive rebound. And so Mari Berry, her ability to shoot, right, he's right when she crosses half court line, you really need to be able to pick her up because she shoots the ball so well. But it's funny, I asked my assistant coach, I said, now that we've seen both, if we had to start a team, as a college coach, who do you take? And it's still to be determined because they both are just athletes and so talented. And they're going to do really well. And I thought last night, we played Amari Berry really tough and did a really good job. I was proud of the way we played her. And even last week, we did really well with Jelani. But those kind of kids get their shots and get their points. So it's difficult for sure on the defense with preparing for them.
We talk a little bit about the talent that you guys have faced this season, but as a team, you guys have a talented roster as well. When you look at your program as a whole, you've sent a couple of players to the college level over the last 4 years: Sydney Boykin, Shay Khan, Diamond Bryant, Michaela Artis. They're at all different levels, from Division I to NAIA and so on. But with this current crop of players that you have that are getting looks, Savannah Prather and Adia Moss, how are those two kind of comparative to the rest of that class, and what heights do you think they can take you to this season?
I think they're going to, at the end of the day, when the dust settles, I'm not counting us out. I told the team we're probably the best 2 and 3 team at this point in the season, just because of who we played, and we're still trying to figure out some things, just personnel wise. This is really a new team. Although we lost Shay Khan last year, she was the only player we lost. We're just still trying to figure out some roles and how some different things will look. But, Ataya and Savannah are both, they're getting recruited from a few schools at different levels, and they both bring different skill sets. And so, any college that gets them obviously are going to be, they're going to, improve their roster. But Savannah, last night she played so well as far as just being tough defensively. She can guard about 2 or 3 different positions. She has a good back to the basket game, and she faces up really well. She has a good feel for the game, so she passes and can make the right reads. Ataya plays well with the ball in her hand, but one thing people probably don't realize, she didn't have the best game last night, but she plays really well with the ball, without the ball, because she can facilitate and make others around her better. So she's going to get that recruitment from a combo guard situation. So the good thing is the girls here, they have, they've seen the ones before them go through the process, and we've had a few colleges come on campus. So that's something that the younger ones are starting to figure out and fill out also. We do have a talented roster. So, I have no doubt we're going to figure it out and be a tough team down the stretch, because we've made big strides, from last Tuesday to this Tuesday and to this, or last night even. So super proud of them. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah, and of course, like you say, you guys are kind of building a bit of a program here where, college programs are coming to see you guys. You've already got a handful of players already in college, a handful that are going to be playing in college eventually, and that's allowed you guys to kind of branch out and play more city teams. Of course, I already played CHS last night, West Creek a few days ago, Northwest opened the season, and Northeast and Kenwood still coming up later this season. Tell me how cool it is, especially for you as a coach who coached at Kenwood previously, but also for these girls to be able to kind of go out and play a little bit of a public school city circuit.
Yeah, I mean, once upon a time, CA wasn't probably even talented enough to play the city schools. The city schools were just head and shoulders above. And so now you look at us, and we've been competing with the city schools the last 3-4 years, maybe longer. But then just this year, we play every city school except for Rossview. And I think we'll get a chance to play them. I think the city schools enjoy stepping out of their district and region and playing us. I think, it's close, it's local. Tuesday night was a home opener for us, but it was a packed house. And so the crowds are obviously going to be better just because these kids. And the girls that come here, they don't, they still have friends in the public schools, so they get a chance to go back and mingle and play with their friends. And of course, when it's game time, it's not fun time, but they enjoy still having that connection to their friends at the public schools. So, I do appreciate the city schools being willing to play us, and they've been great games for us. We get different things out of playing. We get to, kind of showcase our program and what we do in the city, because maybe the common fan wouldn't get a chance to come come over and watch us, but when we play the city schools, you get a chance to see, that, hey, we have some good basketball being played over at CA, and that we're competing as well.
Absolutely. Good basketball, without a doubt. Some great crowds, and it's been very enjoyable. But Charles, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great talking to you. This is the third day in a row that we've talked, so I appreciate you being able to tolerate me this many days in a row.
Brady, I really appreciate you, the coverage you guys give us, and thank you for having me on. Go Cougars.
Thanks, Coach.
Indeed. Thank you, Charles. We're going to take one quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Terrence Williams, head coach for the Springfield boys basketball team. Stick around.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
And we are back on Main Street Preps North. I'm Blaine Kellar, joined by Brady McAtamney. And of course, this show is brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. We talked with Charles Clark of Clarksville Academy Girls Basketball just a second ago, a coach who's kind of been not only at Clarksville Academy, but in Montgomery County Hoops for a while. Let's talk to a coach, Brady, that is in his first season of high school basketball, period. Terrence Williams, first 3 games as a head coach. How are we feeling so far, Coach?
Would have been feeling a lot better if we could have pulled out that win against White House Heritage the other night. But overall, pretty pleased with the boys and the progression that they're making after every game.
Coach, as you mentioned, you all fell to 2-1. Springfield did with a 38-37 loss on Tuesday. But overall, in your mind, whenever you go through these first 3 games where you've beaten Sycamore and Greenbrier, lost to Heritage, has it been what you've expected?
Has it been what I've expected? Yeah, pretty much so. I think I expected teams to kind of play us a certain type of way defensively, and they are. It's been a struggle. I didn't know it would be such a struggle for us to kind of learn how to beat those, different zones and different looks defensively. I understand who we are, and how, we got quick guys on the floor, athletic, so it's going to be tough to guard a man. But our boys, we've still got to figure out, how to shoot against the zone, how to attack zones, and read different defenses a little bit better. So overall, yeah, I think it's been like what I've expected to see so far in these first 3 games.
Yeah, well, you mentioned it there, kind of talking about the zone and working around that. Whenever we do kind of allude to that first loss that you guys suffered against the Patriots, was it similar to that? Did you guys just learn that you guys struggle against the zone in that one? People would say you learn more in a loss than you do a win coaching-wise. So what do you think you learned about your team there?
Hey, I would agree with that statement you just made 100% fold, and I'll tell you why. I coming into this season, I told the boys, teams are going to 2-3 us a lot. And then we saw 1-3-1 because I pretty much feel like our boys are playing a little bit better against the 2-3. So they went 1-3-1 against us, and the boys kind of reverted back to last year, right, where they kind of just stood and watched. And Just like you said, being able to learn so much in a loss, we honestly, probably about 2 hours ago, just sat in the locker room and watched the entire film and broke down like different spots that you can attack it, what I should do with the ball when I catch it in this situation. We're going to go over different reads and looks today at practice. But yeah, if we had won that game, I think, we probably wouldn't have put as much emphasis on how to attack these different zones. And we really need to. So we're going to learn a lot from that loss. And also, man, look, that loss, one of our boys, he made a bad foul, right? And he's going to learn from that. You can't do that. So, learning is losses can help you learn so much.
Yeah, I think if I heard
Absolutely.
it right, there was you all scored with 3 seconds left in that game, that low scoring game. I've got a little bit of a recap here. Heritage runs a full court inbounds play and gets fouled on a 3 with 0.02 seconds left. Is that right?
From half court.
From half
court. From
Wow.
half court. So
Oh,
it's not
man.
even like I'm on the 3. It's a half court heave. And, we had told the boys in a huddle, don't foul, don't foul, don't foul. And then they called a timeout again, and we go, don't foul, don't foul, don't foul. I just think it was a little bit of experience on our guard's part. He's a senior, but this is his first year of playing high school varsity basketball. He's a transfer from East Nashville. So he got here last year, and he didn't play ball last year. So this is his first year, and, in that moment, the guy went up to heave the ball from half court, and I think his instincts just went into like, hey, I got to contest this shot. And like we just said in the locker room, like, hey, you hit that shot. I told you, if he hit it, you got to turn around and clap for him because, you know what I mean? Those are tough shots. So congratulations, you made it. But to bail him out in that situation with the foul is, like we said, that's something that he'll learn and also we'll learn because, we knew where the ball was going. We knew it was going to 3. We told him in the huddle. And for us, we probably should have put a more experienced guard on him in that moment, Keyshawn Cromwell. But instead, we went with Travion Benford because he is so good defensively. And we, in that moment, we didn't really think about the inexperience playing a part.
Yeah, your guys' district this year, it's one that's been competitive for the last several years. Teams that have gotten either to state or close to state the last several years. I understand this is your first year, but have you looked at any of the other teams or learned anything about some of these other teams that you'll be matching up with?
Yeah, so of course, man, Rossview is really tough. I've heard so much about Rossview. Probably the first thing I heard when I got the job was how tough Rossview was going to be for us. I've actually, checked out some of the film on Clarksville and West Creek and, just kind of trying to keep up and watch what's going on in that district. But also, I know we've got a long way to go. So I'm trying to put a lot of focus on our boys and our basketball IQ and how to get better every day. And I don't want, like I tell them in the locker room all the time, like, they kind of feed off the coach. And I tell them, I don't want what I'm doing to affect you. So basically, I don't want with me looking at so far ahead in the district and yada, yada, we still have to focus on the teams ahead of us because that's the only way we're going to get better.
Yeah, Coach, right before then, you mentioned a couple of the bigger guys that, came back from the football team to help out, once their season ended. Travion Benford, Keyshawn Cromwell, of course, Kamari and Flair, can't forget about that guy, and, a couple of others. But one that really struck me was Devin Crenshaw, the quarterback who hasn't played Springfield basketball, in my knowledge for the 4 years he's been there. And now he's joined the team. How did you get him on and what does he bring exactly?
Yeah. So Devin, man, is a kid that literally, probably in my early stages of getting his job, I was sitting in PE and he was in the gym just hitting threes left and right. And I go, like, do you play basketball? And he's like, no, sir. And so I asked him if he would come out and play, and he told me no at that moment. It was early. He was in the middle of the season. And towards they got to the playoffs, and we started hanging our banners up, and I was walking in the gym, and he was just sitting in there, and I go, man, we got a spot left for you on the wall, Devin, when you get done winning state in football. And he goes, okay. And it kind of hit me like, man, he said, okay, you know what I mean? And I didn't think much of that. And probably that same day as he was walking to football practice, he stopped. He said, oh, really, coach, what jersey you got for me? And so, I told him, I said, hey, don't worry about it. Go win state title in football. Whenever you guys get done, we'll be ready for you. And he came out. And so, he's a good kid for us. Devin's going to bring physicality, leadership, a winning attitude. He's a guy that when we're in the huddle, like, no matter how I'm feeling, I can look him in his eyes and kind of feel a little bit more calm over the situation. He's a guy that is still getting his foot in basketball. So, let's keep in mind, like you said, he hasn't played high school ball. We've only played, I think he's played 2 games so far. But he's learning post moves every day. We're going to be able to dump it down to him. That's something we did against Greenbrier, and he went to the line for a few free throws and made them. Also, he can hit the 3. So you've seen him take his first 3 this season against Heritage. He can offensive rebound. He can defensive rebound. It was a play against Heritage where, we switched a lot defensively, and he didn't switch, and they caught us up in the corner on the 3, and they got an and 1-3 bucket. So once again, he's still learning those moments. And it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks before I'll be able to look up and go, man, he's getting pretty good. Also, on top of that, Devin leaves us from the 5th of December to the 9th because he's going to do a football all-star camp. So be patient with him is what I'm telling the other coaches. But once he gets rolling, him and Flair together, we'll be able to high-low a lot with those 2. And both of them bring just like a demeanor, man, that you have to have as far as trying to build a winning program. So, we like him being with us a lot right now.
Well, Coach, I was one to say that I was pretty excited to see how this Springfield team would look at the start of the season. And that was even before learning that Devin Crenshaw was on the team. That just adds another layer to it. But, hey, Coach, we appreciate your time today, and we wish you best of luck as you continue your early season on Friday against Station Camp.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. All right, one more break here, and when we come back, as always, one thing, game of the week and player of the week. We'll be right back.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
It was just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try.
There aren't any cops around.
I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Tell me your name, sir. Where you are right
now. And we're back on Main Street Preps North, brought to you by Main Street Media Television and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brady, as you said, one thing, game of the week, player of the week, kick us off.
Yeah, one thing I've been excited to talk about is a couple signature wins coming out of the basketball programs here in the city. Of course, Coach Williams just mentioned Rossview being pretty good. I think he's right about that. They just beat Brentwood Academy on the road on a Landon Hankmeyer buzzer beater off the glass. So very cool for the Rossview boys. And Clarksville Academy went to Lebanon and beat Jared Hall and the Blue Devils. So a couple huge wins for the boys programs here in the city over the last week.
Yeah, and I'll tie in my kind of 2-1 things here. there's a couple of signature wins coming out of Montgomery County, not very many out of Robertson County early on. We had a couple of star teams kind of hit the road to start the season last year and get off to a great start. We're 3 or 4 games in for most teams, and there's only one undefeated left, and that's Joe Burns of all teams, which, that was the team I had at the bottom of my standings if we go back a couple of weeks to our basketball primer. So outside of that, here are your other scores from Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. White House Heritage boys 38, Springfield 37. Heritage moves to 3-1. Springfield girls beat Heritage 46-41. Maplewood boys beat White House 68-63. White House girls beat Maplewood girls 43-42 for their first win of the season. Sycamore boys lost. Greenbrier boys won against Sycamore 75-42. 2 straight wins for Greenbrier entering Friday. And then your last scoreboard update, Sycamore girls beating Greenbrier 46-34.
Yep, and one boys team that I would like to highlight real quick, Northwest. They've got 2 wins in the last week, beating Clarksville High by 26 and Northeast by 5, beating Northeast at Northeast for the first time since 2017. So could be looking out for Northwest here as a possible sleeper team in the city.
Yeah, it seems like Takari Monday definitely was a big factor. You kind of go back to that Clarksville Academy game we talked about, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and they were without him and they really struggled. But if they're with him and they can beat Northeast, I mean, that's no slouch of a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's give an interesting one for you here, Brady. On MainStreetPreps.com, we released a story 2 weeks back talking about how 90% of high school admins in the state of Tennessee were in favor of altering language to pave the way for name, image, and likeness benefits for athletes at the high school level. Give me a killer NIL idea, pitch, subscription, whatever it may be, for an athlete in Montgomery County.
Man, how about an Eddie Rick slam dunk meal at Johnny's Big Burger?
Oh, I like that.
How's that sound?
That's a good one. But you got to go with somebody who's committed to Austin P, though. The Moorhead State commitment might kind of tarnish that a little bit, though, right?
Maybe the Ken and Rice fastball meal or something from Ross View Baseball. He's an Austin P commit.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that is definitely an interesting concept.
We're
running low on time here.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying we're running low on time here. Why don't you give me your player of the week and game of the week here in a quick little capsule?
Yeah, Greenbrier East Robertson basketball is where to be on Friday. 2 teams on the girls' side that are trending in opposite directions. The girls' team for East Robertson is winless after I thought they'd be one of the top teams in the county this year. Greenbrier's 3-2. I believe they have the most wins among all girls' teams in the county, which I had them at the bottom of our list. So kind of interesting there. And then on the boys' side, you've got the reigning 1A state champs in East Robertson and a 25-win Greenbrier team last season. They really had a couple of interesting matchups. Player of the week, Louis Taylor, White House freshman. I know I've talked a lot about Avery Coles on this show, the 6'8" freshman from White House Heritage. But Louis Taylor is another player to look out for that's a first-year high schooler. He had 9 points and 11 rebounds against White House Heritage last week, and then followed that up with 11 points and 6 boards in Tuesday's game at Maplewood. With Ryan Worrell out, they kind of need somebody down low to really help their inside-out game, and I think this freshman's really doing a good job of that.
Yeah, my games of the week, I'm kind of cheating a little bit with kind of 2 games, but I'm going to be seeing Kenwood play Northeast this week. And then on Monday, I believe it is, West Creek playing Kenwood. So that's going to be a really good opportunity to kind of gauge all these teams against each other. Northeast, a team we've kind of seen mixed results from. West Creek, kind of a similar case. And Kenwood lost some really good players from last year, so looking forward to seeing how they look this year. My player of the week, giving some love to Clarksville Christian. Lauren Hassel, daughter of Austin P. great NBA, former NBA player, Trenton Hassel. She had 29 points, 19 rebounds, 5 blocks against Christian Community, and she's an 8th grader. So pretty impressive stuff. She's going to be a big-time player for years to come there, playing for her dad. So very impressive stuff.
Yeah, that'll wrap us up here on Main Street Preps North. Hit the stretch there pretty quickly. As always, This show is brought to you by Main Street Media Television and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. We'll see you next week.